Well, hello and welcome to the month of August. We are into our fourth episode of the professional practice series. Shunda and I are having an absolute blast chatting to all these amazing professionals. And this month is no exception. We are chatting to PD Dhevaraj from South Africa. PD has some really great information to share with us today. We're going to be chatting about something that's really at the heart for most of us as practitioners, and that is how to cultivate an aligned business, something that really speaks to who we are and what we do, without all the the marketing and the buzzwords and all the crappy stuff getting in the way of all of us. So PD's bringing an incredible wealth of knowledge today. I've worked with her personally for a couple of years. She's fantastic to work with, highly knowledgeable. Background wise, she's a Reiki master, a spiritual life coach, and a past life regressionist. She's also the force behind the Soulflower Healing Group, which is a Facebook platform that she has organically cultivated over the last few years with 33,000 followers. That's impressive. And with 18 years of experience in PR and marketing, she also has a 3D World day job as a content manager of one of Africa's largest banks. PD bridges the spiritual and practical in a way that's deeply grounding and refreshingly real. PD, we're super excited to have you. She's also the owner of the Peacock and Owl, which is a business that looks to support spiritual practitioners in getting clear and visible. She helps you with your copying, your editing. This is everything she's been helping me with for the last few years. So I'm definitely going to vouch for her. She's amazing. And she's recently gone into publishing. She's added a publishing arm to the Peacock and Owl business as well. So PD, we're super excited to chat to you today. So we're going to jump straight in and ask the question, what does alignment really mean when it comes to a spiritual and healing business? Sort of moving beyond those cookie cutter strategies to like really define what alignment looks like for a spiritual practitioner.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share. That one, actually, for me, I would like us to actually just start about defining what we actually need to have in alignment, right? In my world, my mind, alignment means being authentic, true and proper authenticity across as many levels of every aspect of your life that you can. And simply put, it means that you just need to be yourself in as many ways as possible, as well as being true to yourself. A lot of the times, what we need to do is actually just put ourselves in the mind and body of our prospective customers, right? So what we are looking at most times, we're looking at people who are struggling to come to terms with their own spiritual journeys. They come to us to shed light on the stuff that they are like really desperately searching to make progress on in their own lives, in their own journeys. And also, most importantly, and I think we've all been there, they're just looking for validation that they're actually not going crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are looking for alignment with some kind of philosophy or structure that they can identify with. And we are the people who should actually be able to give them that structure. That's what we are putting ourselves out there for, right? So also we need to remember that these are the people that are actually also, they've been through life and they are actually now in their spiritual journey starting to pick up vibes. And this is the important part. They may not necessarily have that spiritual terminology, but they can pick up vibes. And they don't necessarily know what the word is for it. But when they feel that something is off and can't quite put their finger on it, they're going to walk away and look elsewhere for a place that they feel more welcome and more comfortable, right? In terms of that, what are the aspects of misalignment for not being authentic, which puts the clients off us? Because I think that's what we should be looking at, right? I believe that most of us are here in our own chosen modalities and our practices because we've had an undeniable calling. And for me, that's the first true authentic alignment. And I say this because that's also how I got into my healing specialization. And to that aim, I actually call it my true north. That's my true alignment. And then you have customers across different aspects, touch points in your business. And what we should actually do then is look at it from the different aspects of where we are engaging with them, from first till the last. The first we must actually ask ourselves is, why are we doing this work and how is it aligned to our calling? And that is where I've seen so many fakes. I'm sorry to laugh, but that's true. They come in with these massive budgets. They want to set up state-of-the-art facilities. And literally, what's missing is that authentic spiritual connection. They haven't had a spiritual calling, but yet I wouldn't want to actually shoot them down for having that vision of wanting to bring people together and having that good energy. But the part where they be bringing that inauthenticity in terms of what their correct qualifications are and what they are able to do, that's where they drop themselves. And people pick that up. And eventually they end up having white elephants, these beautiful facilities that nobody wants to come to because no one actually felt comfortable. And then you look again, that's the one aspect. You look at in the normal marketing of your business, right? We are taught, if we do a social media course or a digital marketing course, we are taught that the best ways to reach your customer is to understand what their pain points are, agitate those a little bit, and then you come in and offer the solution to your customer. That's classic marketing, right? If you can't have that authentic understanding of the pain points, that's where you're going to fail. Customers, again, remember that they can spot a fake. And if they can't identify with what you are actually putting across, they're not going to engage with you. Then you're looking at, say, for example, the customer does decide to come to you, give you a try, because in their desperation, they need to come to somebody. And in that's something that's also, we need to ethically respect, right? And then they come to you for a session. And that's the most important point. They need to have that comfort level with you, right? And for that, we need to also, as the practitioners, like say, oh, hang on, I need to maybe elicit some things from the customer so I can understand what you're experiencing, and then I can actually know how to treat you and how to actually apply my principles to help you. This is where people would then actually also fall flat if they're not authentic. Because if you feel that you can actually get there with that customer and you're not saying it right, and you're putting the wrong thing out there, and you're coming from this point of this person won't even know because they don't know, and I'm just going to tell them that this is their problem, you're already causing a problem. Again, they're going to pick up on that vibe. They're not going to be comfortable. And people are, I would say they're very kind in the way that, you know what, I do understand. I'm polite. I'm in the situation. What's the good thing for me to do? Let me just sit here. Let me just go through the session, and then I'll leave very quietly and not say anything. And that's one of the biggest ways in which we could actually lose our customers along the way if we are missing that alignment. And for that, I think alignment is not a very difficult thing to achieve. It's actually deceptively simple, because being openly yourself is what being a spiritual being is all about. And that should actually be one of the most natural things to achieve. Ideally, we should get to the stage where we should realize that, man, this is just, it's tiring. I can't keep putting up a face on different things, different aspects of my life. I need to be able to just be this one person, because it's just so much simpler. So that for me is one of the biggest parts about alignment.
I love the way that you've explained all of that. And the word congruence really comes to mind with everything that you're sharing there, you know, being your authentic self, you know, not just going into a session and being like, hey, well, I'm here, so I'm just going to roll with it, because that's not congruence at all. You know, you're just rolling with the motions of the session. You know, you're not with the client, you're not engaging with them wholeheartedly and fully. And the thing of, bringing up the masks and you're pretending to be like this when you're actually like that. I believe the congruence is a skill that any practitioner is something they should cultivate for themselves. So I love the way that you've unpacked that for us. Let's chat a bit about alignment as a relationship to someone's why. So bringing in like their personality, their purpose. We've chatted a lot about, being your authentic self is the most important part to all of this. But let's chat a bit about the why, the personality, and the purpose. Let's unpack those aspects a little bit.
For me, I think it is something that, again, goes back to the fact that I feel, and it's been part of my journey, and it could most probably be part of everyone else's journey. I can't be sure for myself. It's about having received that calling. And a lot of things happen in your life when you are actually, you have that calling, the spiritual download that comes to you and says, you know what, you need to do this. It leads you to this. If I can use myself as an example, right? I'm a Hindu, and when I would pray and light my lamp and I would pray, my hands would get incredibly hot, to the point where I'd say to my husband, I don't know what's going on here, but can you feel the temperature of my hands? And he's like, wow, that's like weird. It's really, really hot. And I'm like, okay, I'd heard of Reiki before. Is that maybe I should look at something along that type of healing, or what am I meant to do? And then the first thing I did was put a call out to my guides. I don't know who my guides are, to be honest. So I put a call out and I said, if I'm meant to do this, please can you let me know what I want to do? I know Reiki is Japanese, and I know also that I want to do something that's Hindu. I don't want to do something that's not true to my religion. It wasn't anything about like I don't like other religions. Like I still do prayers of all different types, but I just felt that I need to look at Reiki. But again, I wanted something that was going to tell me that it's okay as a Hindu, because here I'm standing in front of my Hindu lamp and I'm getting these sensations, right? And then these books just kept coming at me wherever I walked into a bookshop. Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. I'm like, no, I don't want Reiki. I want something that's linked to Hinduism. Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. And eventually I caved and I bought a book about Reiki. And I realized the roots are actually not exactly Japanese. The healing modality comes from the East, where Hinduism is actually still one of the predominant religions. And for me, that's how I got started with Reiki. And then I get all excited. But it's amazing how once I get into the path, how things actually, I don't think there's much you can control in yourself to that point. You actually they come to you. And if it's really truly meant to be your why, it may not necessarily be something that you consciously do. It's something that comes to you, and it's something that you can't fight. As much as you try to sometimes go do something else because you feel that you've been disappointed by something, go do something else, it comes back to you. You never lose it.
I think that's such a great way to put it, that it's a deep innate calling that no matter where you come from or where it is that you'd like to head, that calling is going to just be persistent, more so than consistent. It's more persistent than anything else, where it's like, hey, hi, I'm over here, you need to see me. And I think for most of the practitioners, especially those where calling is such a prominent thing for them, that's I think if you're going to promote yourself, promote from the aspect of your calling, because your calling falls into part of who you are. It's a big, massive part of who you are. So I love the personal share there as well, where it's like, hey, I'm Hindu, but the universe is like, no, you need to use Reiki, man. Like, this is what we want for you. And like we need to be open sometimes as practitioners to other experiences and different modalities. And so I love the personal share in that. What about signs of misalignment? So things like burnout, overgiving is a very prominent one in the industry. I'm guilty of that. Resentments, identity confusion. Let's chat a bit about those.
Yeah, that can actually be quite serious, right? In terms of that, I feel that one of the best solutions was actually specifically from a marketing perspective, right? Not just only from a healing practice perspective. Because when you put yourself out into marketing and into that advertising space, you are also putting yourself out into this the space where all these other people are coming in with same or similar modalities, right? And that's one of the things that brings out the worst in people. Just, I wouldn't want to say like necessarily the worst, but all of those things that we would, the love and light people would not want to focus on, in terms of jealousy and comparing yourself to other people and having that self-doubt and all of that. And those are the things that you have to deal with within yourself first. And it comes down to actually having that feeling within yourself and that understanding that strength within yourself. You're going to stay there in what you are, in who you are, and nothing should actually move you out of it. When you get to that misalignment, it's when you get thrown off your true north. Coming back to it can actually take years, and it's actually not the best thing that you want to do for yourself. One of the better things that you want to do is just keep reminding yourself, keep yourself rooted in what you are trying to do, because if you waste time, eventually once you come back to it, you can go right around the world trying to get away from it. You come back and like, no, I should have actually just stayed here. You realize you wasted a whole lot of time. There's a lot of lessons that you could have missed out on. In terms of addressing those issues, you're going to look at what's within yourself first. What is it within you that's causing those issues, those reactions within you? It's basically also then how you address your internal dialogues. Because remember something as well, taking this back to manifestation, we want to say to people, well, one of the truths is that we basically create our own dramas. So a lot of the times where these are coming from are actually because we have these things within us that we are manifesting around us. So again, come back to yourself. And when you can feel something's going off, try and look at what your internal dialogue is, and try and understand what your narratives are. Try and understand how you want to correct it and how you want to build that vision for yourself in terms of where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. I love the way that was put. Yeah, that was really nicely explained. Yes. Yeah, because it is. I mean, if I look at myself personally over the years, anytime I've hit burnout or I'm overgiving or working myself ragged, it's because I'm not following or trusting what you put there as your true north. And I think that's a really good term to use, one's true north, especially as a practitioner. Because if you are following your true north, you're going to be following your purpose, you're going to be following your path, and the ancestors are going to be like, cool, sharp, you're doing the work correctly. They're not going to hound you as much
we've
as
been
they
distracted, right? It happens because we let ourselves be distracted. And that's where we actually get ourselves put off. And that's where one of the biggest traps comes in, when you try to put your foot out there into marketing and you try to get your foot out there. And then there's this wall, I wouldn't say wall, but it's like this whole mass of people that's already there. And they don't sometimes take kindly to just competition coming in, right? And these are the things that can actually drop you and can put you in that misalignment. And what it causes is that all of that stress, and we actually take the beating internally. And that's like, it's such a scary thing sometimes, because sometimes I feel like, gosh, I've been through a war. Can people just stop with the hate already? I'm just tired. You can look strong, you can try it and be strong, but part of the problem is us looking for validation elsewhere. And we
Yes.
need to stop doing that.
Yeah, the comparing, the competitiveness, the external validation, living from the outside instead of living from the inside out. Yeah, absolutely. All of those things will throw you off your alignment, whether you're a practitioner or not, just a regular, like normal person, that will throw you off your alignment. And I think like you said, when we kind of stick our foot into the marketing, I think there's so much noise as well that also just throws us off, because like we're not marketers, we're not business people, we're healers and Reiki practitioners and tarot card readers and massage therapists. These are the things that we do. So yeah, that's, and then we dip our toe into the marketing world and look around and it's like, well, this one's all shiny and sparkly and this one's using this wording, and we're like, who am I in amongst all this noise? And we lose ourselves. Yeah, absolutely.
And to that point, the other massive wave that we are fighting, even when we just break in, even if it's not competition, it's the general public, the people who believe that this is all, it's claptrap. It's it's people who don't believe in what we do, people who don't believe in stuff that they cannot see, and who don't want to believe. So trying to break those boundaries is something that's massive as well. And we get it hard, man. We get hit hard, hit really hard. We got to be strong. We got to be very there in terms of our own abilities. We got to know and keep that solid. Otherwise, we got problems.
Yeah, the saying "know thyself," right, really comes to mind. Yeah. As practitioners, self-awareness is huge. We've got to know ourselves, because if you trying to put yourself out there or promote yourself, or work with clients and you don't know who you are, like who are you bringing into session? Who are you trying to put out there? Like, who is this practitioner? So I'd absolutely, yes. I'm going to hand over to Shunda for a bit. I know she's got a couple of questions for you.
I see your little family there is wanting your attention.
Yeah, my little backyard menagerie of
kittens. Gorgeous.
No, I've absolutely been loving this. Authenticity is actually something that has been in all of our conversations, even if it hasn't been the focus, just being authentic. And also, one of the things that you said that this is my second time hearing it, true north. Your true north, basically, if you follow your true north and you stay authentic to yourself, addressing any of the mental chatter that's going on, then you're going to stay on track. You're going to show up authentic, and you're not going to lose the customers because you know who you are, right? So I love that that you shared that. One of the things that is very important is values. And those are deep foundations of our business, right? So, what are some true non negotiables, and how do you know that they are in terms of our values?
Yeah. So, for that as well, again, top of the list, authenticity, right? Stop being false in any way. It's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And also, again, like I mentioned, it's something that's so easy to spot. I think people don't give the public or just ordinary people enough credit in that way, right? They're not stupid. Life teaches us, even before we got into our modalities, teaches us how to spot a fake. So just don't go out there thinking that you're smart enough to pull the wool over people's eyes. Don't underestimate people's intelligence as well. There's a difference between being stupid and not knowing. So just because you know what you know in your modality doesn't mean that the customer is stupid. It's a big distinction, right? And in that way, also then people in their desperation as well, that comes across, they want to get some guidance, they want to get some help. And that is how they actually then fall for those cheap cracks, right? And that's one of the saddest parts about our type of work. It's not a sustainable business model. And in that way as well, doing something like that actually does attract the the undesirable consequences of the spiritual laws. So you take the choice, but ideally just don't be one of those quacks, right?
Yeah. So basically just be true and don't try to manipulate people, because that, to me, that's what's coming through, is that if you try to manipulate people, then you're going to attract that in your life, people who are not going to be the type of clients that you need, because you're trying to manipulate people.
100%. And the damage to your professional reputation
Exactly.
can be massive. And then also one of the other things for me is about, like, when you're in the situation, when you're dealing with people, learn to listen more than you can speak. So one of the biggest traps that practitioners fall for is that they're in this hurry to label their clients so that they can get in and start getting those results out there, right? That's usually not what the case is. Sometimes you really, really have to spend time listening, because a lot of other things could come out during that discussion with your customer that could actually be pointing to something else that you can actually effectively deal with. In that way as well, it can be one of your biggest allies, listening more than speaking, right? How that actually works is that if you want to listen to a customer and they actually tell you something that means a lot to them, it may not necessarily affect how you give out your modality or your energies in your treatments. When you actually then tailor your work specifically for them, or actually say to them, look, I kept this in mind when I was actually working with you, that means a lot to people, because it's saying to that person, you know what, that specific practitioner, they really got me. They really, they heard me. I felt heard and I felt comforted. And that is something big that actually keeps your customers in for a long haul as well. And in most important, I think all of them are most important, but anyway, professionalism. You can be as friendly and wonderful with your customers as you want to, but keep your professionalism at all times and just don't blur those lines. It just never works out well. It can work out well in some cases, but don't take that risk.
No, I think it's very important, because I have been in situations I felt like the person wasn't listening. And to me, that caused me not want to communicate with that person, even have another session, or even outside of just spiritual sessions, just having a conversation with someone and them not acknowledging you and what you're saying and communicating your feelings, or how something made you feel. So listening is definitely important, because again, you can lose clients if they see that you're not listening to them. They're like, well, I'm gonna go somewhere else, because that person's gonna listen to me, right? Another person can listen to me, right? And on the flip side, when you do listen to people, you start to incorporate some of those things in the session. You hear that they like something and you're like, oh, I'm going to try to have that in our session. All right. And this person is going to have certain differences compared to the next client. So no, I think it's very important to tailor the session to the client. And you get that by listening to them. And definitely, and then being professional.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely, for like, to the point about listening extra, I think more we need to just go the extra mile a little bit. That's what makes the difference for the customer as well.
And then how do you know who are you here to serve, and how do you want to serve them when it comes to your vision?
I honestly don't know.
Understandable.
I'm being authentic. I'm not lying to you. I don't know.
So people are just attracted to you, right? I guess it
So
comes back to that.
I've been doing Reiki since about, I think it was 2011, right?
Yeah.
In that time, I've had like so many different customers, so many different walks of life from around the world.
Yeah.
All I can tell you, is maybe, let's put it this way, your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yeah.
So if someone is drawn to me and I'm drawn to them, the connection happens. And then one more thing to remember is that there's hardly anyone on this earth that's without some need for healing or some need for guidance that we can offer, right? It's literally who clicks with you and who clicks with your vibe, and that then determines how long lasting that relationship lasts, right? For me also, what I found is that I may just have maybe one session with a customer, but we made a connection. I haven't seen them for years, but they may phone me back 5 years down the road, or they may actually send people that they want, they would like to refer to me, and that's how it goes. So it's not necessarily about having like literally a whole series of 20 sessions with this person. It's about having that connection, and those people actually don't just you don't get to choose who these people are. Trust the universe. The universe will let you know who that person needs to be, and that in this, it's pretty much the same way in terms of when you have a relationship, it just clicks, right? So also in marketing your business, it's always beneficial to like practice. And I don't want to put people off marketing, right? That's why I'm saying this now. Basically, you want to go out there, you want to go and engage with your target audience. You want to be able to practice sending out your what your benefits are to the right people, because it's no use sending out information about what your healing modalities to a group of probably like football players, right? So you want to be able to reach them. But in that way, we also need to understand and recognize that every single meeting was not by chance. For some reason or the other, this person came to you. This person was guided to you, and that's why you were able to have that. And that's how your tribe comes into you.
Yeah. No, I love that. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think what the noise out there is like, you gotta single down to this person is my target audience, my ideal avatar client, right?
Yeah.
And if you're thinking in terms of that, then you could be missing someone else that could be attracted to what you're actually offering, what you're putting out there in your business. So more so just really focusing on your client should feel like a relationship. Like it, when you have that relationship, it just feels so good, right? When you're with them, they're feeling good when they're with you, when they're talking with you, and they feel comfortable with you. You know, relationships are like that. So not so focused on like, my client has to look like this. They have to have this, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's what tripped a lot of practitioners up, because that's what we see on their internet, right? We see it has to be a woman that's 30 years old and she has to have freckles, right? You know, and I'm just playing around, right? But that's what you see, and it kind of limits you to actually attracting what needs to be the people that you help. And actually, my own self, I struggle with that, thinking that I had to help just women, and I was like, oh, I want to help kids too, and I also want to help men if they want me to help them, right? It's just really not limiting yourself, because again, your vibe is attracting your tribe. So I love how you put that. And then let's talk about boundaries and energy, and like how your business feels and why it matters. So let's talk about that.
I love the question. The answer is not exactly easy, but anyway, for me, because I think I come across sometimes as someone who's quite, people sometimes get a bit afraid of me because I love my boundaries, but also I understand why they're so important. And sometimes people may misinterpret where I'm coming from. And I learned also, don't always internalize it. I have worked on myself as well. I've had to. But anyway, yes, boundaries are imperative. There's a lot of people who just don't know, specifically from like the client perspective, they don't know when they're overstepping. But that's because we need to ask ourselves, what have we been putting out there? What have we been allowing? Specifically in terms of maintaining a business, like any business would have like normal business hours. You need to know, your customers need to know when they can call you. Is yours the type of practice that would probably ask or allow customers to call you at 3 o'clock in the morning when they are wanting to commit suicide? You know, these are the types of things. Or you know what? Yes, I appreciate it. I will, but like these were my operating hours. But yes, if there's really an emergency, this is what my practice can do. This is what my modality can do, and this is how I can help you. Also, not so serious as a suicide. What degree of free advice and guidance are you willing to offer to your customer, right? Because that's a boundary that's very easily blurred. Is your customer able to then just phone you at any time? Hi, I'm having this problem. Can you please help me quickly? And then you have to ask yourself and tell your customer, you have to know exactly in advance. Client, I think maybe let's have a session, because how much of your work are you putting into there that's actually money that you're going to be losing, right? So that's where I feel boundaries are imperative. Are you actually then doing things out of love, but then walking away from some type of income? That's pretty much where you need to look at it. In terms of also having boundaries with spirit, right? And I'm not a clairvoyant or a psychic. But in the rooms that I've been in, they do say that you are allowed to have boundaries with spirit, because otherwise these practitioners, they get exhausted. They literally don't get a chance to sleep because spirit bombards them 24/7 with messages, and they just exhausted constantly because of this. They are allowed to have these boundaries with spirit and say, please, I need my rest. I need to be able to do this for myself in order to be a better vessel for you. And in that way, I'm having these boundaries in place. Please, can we just work within normal daytime hours? Unless it's really something really bad, then I can actually say, yes, let me know. But other than that, maybe you can, if you can see something that's coming up and I need to let somebody know, maybe just let me know a few hours in advance. But it's about having these boundaries in place.
Please, can you send me an email?
Exactly. Let's have a Zoom meeting.
That could have been a text, not a phone call. No, I love that, because I mean, a lot of people don't talk about having boundaries with spirit, right? You know, you're getting these downloads. It's 3 a.m. You can't sleep because you're like still receiving information from spirit. And it's like, okay, can we just get the downloads at this set hour unless it's an emergency, meaning someone's going to get hurt?
Exactly. But now also to that point, quickly, I must also just say, I could have said something that could be a little bit inflammatory to other people as well, right? Yeah. Because of the seriousness of having these boundaries. And for me, myself as well, a lot of my messages come through when I'm sleeping in my dreams. So I know to a point I'm willing to allow it. And then most people should be able to be willing to allow it. It's what's actually going to be draining you. So you have to then, again, like I said, with the living customers, you need to be able to have that agreement with spirit. But it's entirely up to you in terms of how you're going to be actually, enforcing that.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's, because you know your level of energy. And
yes.
So what 100%. Might be my level of energy might be different for you. You might be like, I want to receive downloads all day. Me, I'm like between 9 to 5.
Exactly. So when exactly do I cook food and when do I eat?
Exactly.
But to your point about energy, right? For me, being energetically clean is one of the most important things ever. cleansing, spiritual cleansing, just have certain ways of doing things to make sure the energy around you and in your practice is clean. Being messy is just not the ideal thing to do, right? Because also you got to make sure, like, say, for example, you're having 5 different clients in a day, and each client comes in with a different type of energy. They come in and they drop their energy in your space, which is what they're allowed to do as part of your healing modality. You don't cleanse, and then client 1 walks in, drops their negative energy, and then client 2 walks in with their own drama, and then picks up on the negative energy that was left there from client 1, and they end up walking out.
Wow.
Even heavier than when they actually walked in. And then that carries over and carries over and carries over. That's messy, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that. In terms of having that specific thing in place where you make sure it's like a spiritual practice. Keep the energies clean, but also it goes over and above from just your practice. It's being able to start from yourself first, protect yourself first, and then have your energy clean first before you then walk in and then start engaging with other people. Because remember, we have the person, and then outside of the person, we have these different energetic bodies, which are then carrying all these additional energies, and they mingle and they exchange. There's energy exchanges. How much are you willing to carry on yourself? So for me, that's very important that we actually make sure that we, after all of these 5 clients, are also still not carrying that on ourselves when we go home. How well do you think you're going to be able to sleep that night or operate in your own life? So it's a very important thing to have that safe space also for your customer, right?
Yes.
Every customer, whether it's your first one or your 5th one, they are your first customer.
Yeah.
That's how you should look at them from an energetic perspective. And in terms of, like, having that engagement with your customer as well, right? You need to have that safe space for them. You're creating that safe space for them because you need them in part of being an effective practitioner to drop that negativity that they're having. It's going to be there. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable. If they're uncomfortable, they're going to put their guard up. They're not going to be able to actually engage with you to the full effect of how they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So having that comfort for them, making them feel that they are actually able to let go in that space you're making that clean space. You have to do it, but you also have to take responsibility for it. And that, I think, is one of the most important issues.
Yeah, no, I love that response because you've been responsible for them. It's like taking care of a baby, right? And that's what you want to do when you're taking care of other people that are in your sessions. You don't want to throw the baby on the ground, right? You want to hold the baby, rock the baby when it's like crying, right? And then also when you were saying something about like the different clients, making sure that client is your first client. Like it always feel like they're your first client. So that's cleaning the energy, making sure that you're not in your session causing this person not to want to release some of that negativity that they're feeling that's on them, that's in their different layers, right? That are being communicating with your different layers, right? So keeping the energy clean and making sure your clients are comfortable. Definitely. I love that. And so I want to ask a couple more things and I want to hand it over to Tam. Let's talk about the ego because as practitioners, the ego is going to always want to show up. And so with the ego, sometimes the ego want to make us operate out of alignment. So let's talk about operating from a place of ego and out of alignment and how we can get back to a place of essence.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think what we need to do here is actually just acknowledge first that before we are spiritual practitioners, all love and light and beauty and grace, we're humans. We were brought, like, and in that way, we walk into our modalities and we walk, or shall we say, walk out of the qualifications with this wonderful vision of we're going to be the best out there in the world. And that's coming from a space of genuine kindness and a need to make a change in the world. And then you get yourself out there, and then you get all this competition, and then you get all of these people coming in and saying, you know what, no, I'm better, I've been at it longer, I've had more experience, and everybody's trying to squash each other. And then you end up with these like big Facebook fights with comments of people just flinging all these heavy duty love and light terminology at each other, basically saying, just bugger off. The one who's actually buggered off is actually your customer.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think that's something that we learn by experience. We're not going to learn basically straight out of a textbook.
Yeah.
We have to feel the feelings. We have to be able to identify them for what they are. Because again, people are our biggest teachers. So when we see these things happening on other platforms, we can also then identify it. So they are teaching us, but why are we identifying it? It's because it's something that we are already aware of within ourselves. Yeah. And that is something that we need to be able to then work around, understand, and look at how do we want to respond better. And again, previous to one of the other questions as well, we spoke about the fact that this will cause your misalignment, and how badly are you willing to let it affect you. So I think most importantly, it's like, this is something that we can actually work around by being consistently working on ourselves. And then when you're coming out of that space of alignment, more and more, when you get yourself comfortable there, you will be able to also identify by feeling, hey, this is not what I want to be. This is not this is not who I am. And when you identify that and you feel uncomfortable there, you actually then realize, I need to pull myself back into my space to get back into my alignment and why I'm doing this. And again, social media was one of the things that for me was one of the, that prompted me to open up my own page, right? Because, and in all fairness to all the professionals out there, I had to realize I'm strong. I have my own benefits to bring to the world. If I go into somebody else's platform and I start shouting out about it, I'm being unfair to this professional who also, how much am I playing in bringing out the worst in them? Which it also, it's bringing it back to me. I mean, it's not that they are there and they are bad. Am I making them bad? Am I bringing out the badness in them? So I know it's not nice, but anyway.
No, it's really about that self-reflection, because I actually posted this week about just focusing on yourself. Like, if I'm out there looking at what other practitioners are doing, how many years they got, and I'm a newbie, right? It's going to make me feel bad, right? Like,
yes,
they got 20 years. I got 1 year, right? So really that also affects you too. It affects your self-esteem. And so really just focusing on yourself and asking yourself those questions, like, how did I cause this person to react like this to me? Where did I play my part? So I love that. Like, self-reflection is key, because then it causes you to get out of the ego mind and be more in the love and light, right? More in the essence. So no, I think those are very important things to do, have that self-reflection. And then you can work around what's actually happening, whether it's opening up your own Facebook group, right? Or stop looking at what other people are doing.
100%. That's and as part of that, right? One of the nice things was that it allowed me to identify with my tribe and my tribe to identify with me, because then I didn't want to compete with anybody. And I respected where they were coming from. So
Yeah.
in that way, that was one of the things that I did. I still get people trying to bombard my page, trying to advertise themselves, or I actually get some nasty comments because when I look at a person's profile after I read their comment, one of the first things I do is I look at how they're positioning themselves. And if they're trying to position themselves as a social media influencer, uh, they are more likely doing it out of the social media marketing principle of they're trying to be noticed by this person's followers. And that's like, it's really not ideal. And these people, that's how I recognize, yes, these people just don't have it. And it's not going to work out for them. So I don't even bother to respond. I don't give them, because especially with regards to social media, the minute you respond, you're going to get another response. You have a full-blown argument happening, and then you're giving that person a platform, right?
Yeah.
So it's just stay away. But in terms of that as well, for my own page, having that platform, it allowed me to align. It allowed me to enforce my boundaries. And to that, in all integrity and honesty, my following is now currently sitting at 33,000 people worldwide. And that is because, in hindsight, I chose to be 100% in alignment. And I chose to stay authentic. So I always manage my content in terms of just being authentic and speaking to people, to real people. And that's what you really want.
Yeah. No, I love that, being 100% authentic and being in alignment. And if you have those two things, really, you're not going to worry about if you're advertising correctly, right? Because you're going to always show up correctly. You're going to always attract the tribe that you need, right? So, no, I love those. So now, and when attracting the tribe, right? You're also getting clients, right? You're attracting abundance in the form of currency, right? And so let's unpack those limiting beliefs about money is the root of all evil.
Again, I believe that we are the creators of our own destruction.
Yeah.
But this is where the spiritual life coach in me steps up, right? I can't even tell you how important it is for us to address our own personal relationships with money and abundance, because that's usually the reason why we may be struggling or not, right? We all need to get to the root of our existing narratives, and question why our current narratives are the way they are, right? We basically need to understand what caused me to embed that thinking into my subconscious, what's wrong with what I'm saying to myself, and what should I be saying to myself as it aligns to my vision, what I want to see for myself. That's pretty much the sort of steps that you need to follow. I'll give you an example in terms of my own personal journey, right? I was the youngest member of a family of 5. My parents had financial struggles because obviously they had their own financial narratives going on. So as a kid, whenever I wanted to have something that a little kid would want, the one thing that just kept on being drummed into my head was that there's no money. And that was the answer. And eventually I grew up teaching myself not to want anything, because that was all that I would ever hear, that I already knew the answer. The answer was already embedded into me.
Yeah.
So at some stage, I began this spiritual journey in terms of becoming a spiritual life coach. And I actually was forced to review the root of my current narratives. And from there, I had to look at how it was impacting my current life, my relationships, my businesses, my way of work. And it's amazing. Just by recoding what I said to myself, the types of changes that it brought about me. And won't even lie, there's so many different types of narratives out there that we don't realize we're picking up. When I started off in corporate, basically, all the cool colleagues would say, you know what, yeah, you it's a struggle, you're in this grind, all of these words where people are creating this image about that you have to work hard in order to get your money. That's actually not true, right? And so we need to question ourselves about all of that, and in terms of what those external narratives that we are picking up as well, that we are now imbibing into ourselves. And we have to be able to actually say, you know what, is that now aligned with what I want for myself? Is it really true that I have to work hard to get to money? And that's actually some of the hardest work you have to do for yourself as well. But in that, I can tell you that the effects are actually so much bigger in terms of how you can turn your life around. Yeah. I'm not kidding.
No, that is definitely the narrative that is spread around. Actually, I was recently looking at a reel on Facebook, and it was the CEO, and he makes billions of dollars, but and I'm not going to disclose who he is, but he was saying work really hard during the week, 10 to 14 hours, and like 10 to 14 hour days, right? And he was like talking about how he got successful, and this is like his daily routine. And I'm like, I quickly swiped off that video, because to me, I have found that working harder is not going to get you like more than someone else. It's really about working in alignment, right? Working in your authentic self. And it goes back to that. If you do that, you don't have anything to prove, because you're going to show up how you need to show up. And, just recognizing when there's that external narrative, right, that could be potentially affecting you. And if I wasn't self-aware, I'll be like, oh, I need to go to working 10 to 14 hours. And I'm like, no, I'm not working 10 to 14 hours. Someone else can do that. Maybe someone else can benefit from that. But yeah, like, there is this narrative. That's what you hear people say, but you have to be true to yourself and know that, looking at your money belief system and asking yourself, like, is this true for me? And, if it is true for me, really asking yourself why. Why do you think that? Why do you think you need to work hard to earn a living? So I love that. Just having those self-reflections back again, just reflecting on, really, should I work 10 to 14 hours, or and honestly, that's not sustainable anyway.
Is that your vision? Is it your
Exactly.
vision, having those 10 to 14 hours in front of a desk?
No.
Do you envision something else for yourself, right? So it comes back to the whole thing about learning to work smart and not hard. Is that maybe a vision that you would want for yourself? And in that way, oh yes, also, remember something, coming back to the saying of money is the root of all evil. That in itself has a spiritual root, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's rooted in Christianity. And I believe maybe also some other religions as well will probably say it in different ways. And it's about us actually wanting to detach from material attachments. Because detachment is obviously, and Tam will tell you as well, I think she's great at this and explaining this to us, about spiritual detachment from material things. And that's something we ideally all want to get to. But then also, as practitioners, spiritual practitioners, we need to recognize something. The fact that we are basically these bridges to these higher dimensions, but we are actually rooted in this three-dimensional life, this material life, where in order to achieve our basic functioning of surviving, we need to be able to actually have money. We need money to pay for rent. We need money to pay for our car to get to our jobs. We need money to pay for food. So where this thing comes about, then, if this currency is evil and this energy is evil, that means I'm living evil for needing it. right? And we need to walk away from that, because we need to respect the fact that, yes, on the higher dimensions, there's no need for money. They don't need it, right? But with us being that bridge, we need to be able to be rooted here in this three-dimensional space. And for that, we need to respect money. And with us now having this contradiction in terms, money is evil, I shouldn't be having it. But then at the end of the day, I don't have a roof over my head. No. So in terms of that relationship with money as well, we need to get consistent about what we believe, what we are thinking about, and how we want to actually deal with this energy of money.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's something that we should respect and we should actually enjoy having. You have this vision of having money, of having a great life, having food to eat, having a place to live, but now you don't want the one thing that's going to give it to you. So we need to drop the contradiction.
Yeah, definitely drop the contradiction, because we need money to survive in this material dimension, right? So no, I love how you put that. So I'm gonna hand it off to Tam. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you. It's been great chatting.
It has been great. It's been amazing.
So I wanna chat about the myth that there's the perfect ad, like just that one ad, and like, hey, I've done it where I'm like, maybe this is the ad that's gonna bring me 20 clients this month. This is the ad that's gonna make my book a #1 bestseller. Let's chat about the myth about there's the one ad that's gonna do it, and the truth about resonance and connection when we are promoting ourselves.
Tam, I think also you and I have both been there, right? We've both done ads. How did it work for you?
It was exhausting.
I think for me, it broke my heart. Okay. I see this on social media all the time, and I see these most beautiful things. And I've been behind some of those adverts myself. But then the person who's putting their name out there, they feel that, hey, it's good, let's just do a paid campaign. And then that should be enough for a week, because that's about how much I have in my budget to be able to get my name out there. And then the phone is silent. So it's not your karma. It's not that you did anything wrong. You got to think about what you are actually trying to achieve in that one advert, and then decide whether that's actually enough time to get it all done. So let's just put it this way, right? Basically, you want to establish knowledge and recognition of your brand with your target audience. So now you're taking into account targeting. You want them to start recognizing your brand, and you want to start having people affiliate your brand with the values that you want them to know you stand for. And then you also want to get your customer interested in engaging with your brand through the benefits that you are offering to them to make a difference in their lives, right? What's the likelihood of doing all of that in the visibility of just one post in 1 week?
Yeah, that's like asking for a miracle.
Yeah.
And while miracles absolutely exist.
Exactly. And then in that way as well, let's look at our own experiences, right? On first sight, would you actually trust an advert that you see once? And would that then actually get you into the call to action? Basically, no, that's it. I'm buying it now. I saw it once. That's enough for me. And I don't need to see it again. I don't need to feel like, I need to protect my money online. Let me just go and order the stuff right now. Or let me just, contact this person right now. It's it's just not feasible. It's an unrealistic expectation on the customer. What our customers need is consistency. They need to be able to see that this brand is out there and it hasn't dropped away, because as much as it is quickly forgotten within that first view. If someone did remember that advert and they didn't save the advert, they would also hope that they would be able to see that advert again. And if they didn't see that advert again, my first thought would be like, oh, you know what, maybe they just went out of business, right? So
what wasn't meant to be.
Exactly. And in that way, when it comes to that whole connection aspect as well, right? Maybe it's not only about the spiritual aspect of it. You got to ask yourself the questions that are rooted in being practical about it and understanding the logic behind it and understanding the psychology of the people you're trying to reach. Because again, just using social media as one of the most common platforms that we would use for reaching our target customers, that's a very different ballgame of customer. It's instant gratification, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get instant gratification from just one ad.
Yes. Yeah, like I say, I think it's just asking for a very unrealistic miracle, you know, and as much as miracles happen on a daily basis, isn't going to be that one perfect post that's going to, you know, make you an overnight success or a six-figure coach, or like there is that it doesn't exist. Like it's not feasible, like you say. What about building a yellow brick road versus chasing algorithms? Like I think all of us are so sick of the word algorithm. I think some of us have a love-hate relationship with the algorithm. Like, how do we work with this algorithm? what are we doing here? So chat us about building that yellow brick road instead of, you know, fighting with the algorithms of social media.
Yeah. So that's something as well. Are we actually going to be, what are we going to be using that yellow brick road for? It's for that ultimate conversion from advert to paid customer, right? And that yellow brick road is your user journey. And having that in place is where you're actually going to be fighting social media's algorithms, right? So Meta is one of the worst things, but it's one of the things that can help you the best. One of the key things here is that they just want your money. They've monetized it. It's not what it was 20 years ago. They've monetized it. And I've had experiences where the reach of my page was intentionally throttled because I refused to spend money while they were forcing me to spend money. All right. And I wasn't going to fold. And it wasn't about being stubborn or anything like that. I just had no need at that point, because also I had to stay true to what my marketing strategy was and what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. But we also get so much into the whole social media marketing thing. We want to get more and more followers, consistently just growing and exponentially expanding, so that more people are noticing you, that we forget sometimes as well. We don't have to fall for all of that. We just got to stay true to exactly what we want to achieve. And from that, we're basically saying, you know what, hang on. I know what my user journey is going to be. And my user journey right now doesn't need to actually fall in line what you want to do here. So I'm not going to fall for this. And that's like an important part of staying, again, aligned.
Yeah, I can see that. It brings us back to that whole thing of the yellow brick road is really following that true north that we mentioned right in the beginning. You know, if you're going to build the yellow brick world, like bugger the algorithm. Where is your road taking you? Where is your journey taking you? Where is your alignment taking you? And I mean, working for the universe, sometimes that alignment is going to take you to some weird places, and you're like, well, what am I doing here? And the universe is like, don't worry about it, just be here. You know?
Yes.
trying to chase algorithms, for a lot of us, it just doesn't actually fit and align for who we are and where we're trying to go with that journey. Let's chat a bit about your personal recalibration stories, stories that have helped to bring you back into alignment, helped to bring you back on track. Let's chat a bit about some personal shares.
Yeah, no. I'd strayed many times along my journey, I won't lie. So, and I think one of the biggest times is when you are the most vulnerable is when you are starting out. There's no specific guidebook. You're looking for people to actually to join this journey with you. And that's some of the lessons that I learned as well, right? You can't always trust everybody. Things are like, people can be quite spiritually dirty. I've had situations where I've had an acquaintance when I shared, hey, I'm going to start doing this Reiki thing now, because now my guides have reassured me, and they've put these books in my space, and I've read it, and I realized I'm not actually comfortable to move forward with this. No, I definitely want to be there. I want to be, I want to get involved, and I want to be part of this. And so we joined together, because it's always nice to be able to have company when you're doing these things, so you can go through this journey together. And I learned one of the things that put me off was the fact that there was a lot of competitive behavior that I wasn't ready for, actually, because I was just looking for a true friend. But in terms of my experiences with my customer was more intense. My experiences, but it was always based on me saying something first in terms of what I achieved and what I experienced and what I unlocked for a customer. Then always it was something that made me question actually the reality of what they were saying. But theirs was always more intense than my intense. So again, you don't know if this person's actually being true to you, or actually just doing this to make themselves feel better. But I imbibed a lot of it, and it put me off my journey, because then it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And it was something that only literally came right through time. And again, through my calling, keep, continuously knocking at my door, I'm still calling you, please, can you come back here now? And discovering that as I continued, and the feedbacks that I got was still a lot more than anybody could tell me. I had to learn, most importantly, rather not share, because you don't know who actually, is on that path of authenticity. I've had to understand as well that not everybody is going to have that spiritual connection. But it doesn't mean that my calling and the experiences I had were wrong. And that it was possibly just my imagination. Because again, spirit and the universe is like that. These things happen in a way that you can't actually, there's no textbook for it, right? You have to be able to just accept what's coming to you. You have to believe that it happened to you. And even then, in the face of people trying to say to you, no, it's not valid, and then try to sweep it under the carpet and make you forget about it. Sometimes you will get people out there who will say, who will literally do that to you, to make you question yourself. And those can be actually quite disappointing only later on, after you've lost faith in yourself and your ability and your strength and your power that you've been gifted with. So in that way, I had to learn that I can't trust everybody. I should actually just keep my mouth shut. Until eventually you get to the space where you are surrounded by people, like, for example, even critical mass, right? Here now, it's a group of people, proper light workers, looking to anchor light in the world by bringing through their modalities, but working together, respecting each other, respecting each other's callings, and actually understanding that, we're not here to outdo each other. We're here to work together. We're here to make sure that we are bringing light into the world and we're doing it together as the collective. And that's the difference. And maybe also, I would say, my many years of experience, having had my calling like so many years ago, compared to how things have changed now, those could have jaded me a lot, but it also gives me a lot of faith in terms of what critical mass is trying to do. And that is, for me, is just awesome.
Yeah, the collaboration over competition is one of definitely the foundations for critical mass, and one of the for me when I started putting critical mass together, and the ancestors were, you got to make this global community, and I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, because collaboration. If I hear the word collaboration from the ancestors once more, like, I'm gonna be like, bruh, I've heard you. So like, and absolutely that's competition has no place in the work that we do. We're healing and we're helping. There is no room for competition there. So I love that share of like, not everybody has the right intentions coming into this work. Unfortunately, we do need to pick and choose who to collaborate with. Is this person in alignment with me? Are they in alignment with the road that I'm traveling? Am I in alignment with them? So alignment with the people that we work with and interact with is hugely, hugely important. Let's chat about some encouragement for those that feel lost or stuck, or maybe they're unclear on what their next steps are. Let's chat a bit about that.
You know what? I think that's awesome. In terms of whatever may have caused you to feel lost or stuck, just ask for guidance, right? Because basically, just as you have your modality and people who are lost sort of gravitate to you, you're also going to have that part where you are lost and you feel like giving up and like, you know what, this is just too much. I can't do it anymore. But ask for guidance and speak to your guides. Again, like how my Reiki journey played out for me. There's a more advanced being somewhere out there who can actually give you the encouragement to move on, and work your way out of whatever challenges you are facing as well. Don't give up. Basically, because you are never truly alone. You just need to stay on course. If you haven't experienced it before, maybe you did and you didn't realize it. Just go back and think about it. Otherwise, just wait, because I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody. If it does happen, though, ask for guidance and just don't be surprised when it comes.
Yeah, and also the guidance comes from strange places sometimes as well.
Yes.
Yeah, strange places and in strange ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, that's really great encouragement, because that's the work we're doing, is we're connecting to higher sources of power and we're tapping in with the ancestors. We're working with spirit. So if you want some encouragement and some guidance, well, ask the people that you work for. ask them people upstairs. They know what's going on.
Exactly. How many of us, thanks to Tam, have got a deck of tarot cards that we can actually turn to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what would be one piece of wisdom that you would give to anyone that's trying to build a soul aligned business for themselves?
For me, I say to people, just go for it, stay authentic. Don't even think twice about it, right? Have faith in your abilities and don't let anything actually don't even let people intimidate you, because you're going to get those naysayers who are going to try and poke holes in everything you do and say. Just remember that they're coming from a place of their own perception. You are allowed to have your own perception based on your experiences. No one has the right to question that. So just keep at it, and it will be there, and it's going to be beautiful.
Love that. Like, just go for it. Just do it. I think a lot of us get stuck in that fear space where it's like, am I qualified enough? Am I competent enough? Am I doing the right thing? So be scared and do it anyway is a philosophy I try and lean into as much as I can. So I love that last little bit of advice that you've left for us. So before we close off today's session, coming up in next month on the Saturday the 27th, PD is going to be hosting a workshop for the critical mass community. I am so excited about this. As listening to you today, the years that I've worked with you, everything that you've shared with us, I know that workshop is going to be amazing. Will you chat to us a little bit about the workshop that you're going to be facilitating for us next month?
Yeah, sure. So it's something that I've found happening a lot. We because of what we are doing in spirituality, we don't necessarily always have to be marketing specialists. But that's also one of the biggest reasons why we could be falling behind in getting our names out there properly. And sometimes going into the whole big scary world of choosing to become an influencer, a lot of things, especially if you want to do one of those courses out there, the online courses, where they're going to teach you basically the same strategy, whether it's across LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, in terms of things to do to set yourself apart as an influencer. Now, we've been through this in earlier questions as well. Sometimes we're going to be very, very mindful about exactly how we're putting ourselves out there at the expense of offending somebody and going into their space and then trying to destabilize them on their platform. Is that actually right? Is that ethically something that we want to do? So in terms of that, over the years, I have helped a couple people in the spiritual space as well. So I'm putting stuff together to actually help build understanding and also looking at ways for us to look forward in terms of using the new technologies that are out there. When I first put together a course on social media marketing, there was no AI. When I first did my degree with marketing and public relations and communications, there was no social media. So I've been there, I've evolved with it, I'm still evolving, and I still may not even get it all right. And I may not even be able to get everybody to satisfy everybody's platforms, but what we need to do is look at ways and strong ethical principles in which we are actually putting ourselves out there, but also strong, sound strategies on how to put your message out there, what message to put, looking at what you are offering, and then packaging it in a way that your customer is going to want to engage with you. And it's about landing that message with your customer. It's about building that yellow brick road. These are some of the things that we want to look forward to in this workshop. So I'm very excited about running it with you as well.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm excited for it. You've been such a valuable resource for me over the years. I come from a corporate background. I come from sales and marketing. I know a fair bit. But when it's your own baby and you need to do these things for yourself and you're like, no, that all feels really gross, and you've been like, no, it's fine, you'll be okay, this is how you can look at it differently. So you'll be you're in good hands if you join us for the workshop next month. Watching today's episode, I'm sure you've got a really good feel of all the knowledge that PD can bring to that workshop. So if you're really struggling and you're stuck with your marketing and your messaging and putting yourself out there, am I being authentic? Am I in alignment? We can absolutely help you work through all of those things in next month's workshop. So yes, Saturday the 27th. The event page is up on the Critical Mass website, so please do go and register for that. It will be via Zoom. So yeah, and if you're on our mailing list, we'll be sending out the details for that as well through the mailing list. So we do have that to look forward to. So yeah, come and hang out with us next month on the 27th. PD, it's been an absolutely magic time chatting to you. As always, you're you're such a great wealth of knowledge. You really are, and because you come from the industry and you understand the industry, that makes it a whole lot there's more alignment there. I'll use the word.
I think to that point as well, my current job, because when I'm doing content and copywriting for a bank, there are like certain strategies that we know we are aligning to meet our to meet our requirements as a bank, and someone being profitable. And then also, because the banks are so focused on integrity and honesty, it's also strengthened me in terms of aligning it for what we need to do and how we need to get our needs out there and how we need to build these things with proper integrity and honesty. Because if you don't have that alignment, it's not going to work.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great way to end it. If you don't have that alignment, it's not going to work. You're just going to bang your head against that wall and give yourself that headache. We don't need that. So yeah, thank you for that close. Before we do finish off, do you want to just share where, aside from obviously our workshop next month, where all can everyone find you? How can people connect with you if they wanted to work with you?
Okay, so basically I am Soulflower Healing on Facebook, and as members of Critical Mass, we're coming together on the most amazing, groundbreaking collaboration that I'm so excited about. I can't even wait. And then obviously we to support your practice in that way. Like basically it's a safe platform that I created, and I'm so grateful to be able to offer this platform to this team of people. And then, of course, I just run off Soulflower Healing's Gmail account, soulflowerhealing23@gmail.com. And then just specifically on WhatsApp. I may sound a bit deflating there, but it gets hectic. So the other thing is, don't worry, I am on Critical Mass. So that's a lot easier, right? You can just connect with me there. And I look forward to actually having a chat with a lot of people.
Thank you. Yeah, you absolutely can connect with PD on the Critical Mass platform. She is one of the members there. And also through the Peacock and Owl websites as well. But we will have all the links dropped in the video description. PD is a phenomenal person to work with, whether it's editing or to help me with my content calendar for the next 3 months, or do my publishing for me. PD really is a great resource to lean onto, and just truly so knowledgeable and authentic. I think is the biggest part. Yeah, that's the reason why I keep coming back to working with you, is that authenticity and the alignment that's there. PD, huge thanks for joining us today. And for being so willing to put such an amazing workshop together for the community. I know the committee members are all really excited about it. So yeah, we're hoping for a good turnout next month. That's it for today's episode. This has been super insightful. Alignment in the work that we do is hugely important for most of us. We all talk about alignment, we all talk about authenticity, but are we really being that when we're putting ourselves out there and connecting with potential clients and current clients? So these are good conversations to have and things to really think about from the professional side of your business. So PD, thank you once again. Shunda, for being my co-host once again. It's been fabulous chatting with you. And we will be back next month with another great professional. I believe Shunda is going to be hosting that one for us. So yeah, we will be back next month. And until then, stay aligned and stay authentic. We'll see you all next month. Bye, everyone.